Okay, so first things first is the cold start. This might not annoy many people, but let's have a look. Bloody hell. I mean, it's loud for a initial start up of a bike. This has got a standard can on it as well, so I imagine if you put an exhaust on this bike in the mornings, that's going to annoy some people. Not that it bothers me usually, but I do have friendly neighbours and they do like me, I think. So maybe something to consider. The cold start on this bike is actually really quite loud, so if you live in an enclosed area and you have an exhaust on, even just an end can, it can be really, really loud for like a minute or two. I can imagine if you have like a decat, all the works, it will be very loud. So bear that in mind. Oh, right, let's get going. See you after the intro. Oh my god, it's cold today. Right, welcome back guys. Thanks very much for joining. Today we are going to discuss the 5 things I dislike or find annoying about the S1000R. I've covered about 450 miles on this bike. So, to be honest with you, it's a very good bike. There's not much that really annoys me on it. But we shall go through them anyway. I know these videos can be a little bit controversial, can upset a few of you, so go easy on me. That being said, my dislike videos, or my most annoying videos, do the best. So if it helps someone out, they might not want that on their own bike, if they're thinking of buying this bike, then I'll consider that a win. Oh my god, the suspension! Oh, okay, now. Anyway, we'll go on to the first thing, which is all these things are going to be really minor. There's nothing really majorly wrong with an S1000R, to be honest. It's a pretty good bike. But number 1 is the seat. We'll go with the seat because the seat, it just as well be a bit of foam stuck to a bit of plastic like a race bike. I know this bike is essentially an S1000R with straight bars, so comfort's probably not what BMW are really going to go for. It's not the most comfortable naked I've ever ridden. It makes my MT10 feel like an armchair. Like, oh, my MT10 is so much more comfortable than this bike. And when I think of a naked bike, I think of a bike that you would use on the street with the performance of a sports bike. Well, this has that, but you know, and you have comfort with the naked. And this, it's not for me, it's not that comfortable of a bike. It's okay, like it's better than a sports bike, an out and out sports bike. But if anyone's ever ridden an RS, a Tuono, or you know, more of an aggressive naked bike, then yeah, it has the same seating position as well. So first one is the seat. I believe you can probably get a comfort seat though for these bikes. I don't know if it's direct off BMW or aftermarket, but BMW usually sell comfort seats for their bikes, so it wouldn't surprise me if you could. So yeah, number 1, the seat sucks. Okay, number 2, I actually forgot about this until I just felt it. Number 2 is the vibes. The vibes on this bike, the vibrations, they're pretty bad. I've never ridden a bike with such vibey sort of like characteristics. As soon as you get going and put your, you know, you start get a bit of speed, the vibrations coming from my feet, through my hands, they're pretty bad, and it doesn't make for a nice experience. Right, I've pulled over. Let's get on to the next thing, and that's this. So the bike is a keyless bike, as you can see, keyless. So when you pull up to to get some fuel in the petrol station, you think, oh, it's going to be keyless, and then bosh, that hits you, and you need to use the key. So I would say it's a little bit annoying. Like, choose one or the other so I can have a keyless ride. I don't want a half keyless bike, I want a full keyless bike, or a full keyed bike. Either or would be lovely. That being said, while I'm off the bike, these tyres. Now, a friend of mine's got these tyres, not these tyres, but picked up the bike at the same time as me. It's exactly the same spec, exactly the same. Mine came with Dunlop Sport Max, I think they're called. Sport Max? Yeah, Dunlop Sport Maxes, and I'll be honest with you, I don't like Sport Max tyres. I feel horrible on them. I have no confidence in the tyre itself. I'm a bit of a Bridgestone fanboy, so for me, I don't know if you can choose when ordering a BMW what tyres it comes with, but I've heard this feedback before where the standard tyres that you get with the bike are not exactly the best. Now my friend's tyres on the bike that he got delivered, he got S22s, so he got, in my opinion, a pretty good tyre. I love S22s. I have the S23s on my MT10, and I've had several sets of S22s on my MT10. It's the tyre that I would choose. But yeah, I don't know why this one came with Dunlop Sport Maxes, but yeah, I don't really want Dunlop Sport Maxes on a bike with 165 horsepower. I know they're probably designed for, you know, good performance, and most tyres these days are pretty okay for going fast, but yeah, I wish I'd have a decent tyre. Got a nice nod off that chap. Hello. Hopefully you're a subscriber. Probably not though. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to go through more than 5 because now I'm riding it, I'm getting the things in my head. Getting the bike into neutral is not the easiest in the world. I don't know why, and when I'm clunking down gears, if I stop in second gear, or I stop in third, let's say, and I don't clunk the gears down in time, to get the bike to go down the gearbox when you're stood still is quite hard. It doesn't always do it. You have to, it's like you're, you know, Michael Jackson with your foot trying to clunk it down, and you have to, you'll know what I mean, where you have to release the clutch just a smidge to get the bike to clunk down into gear. Like you got like just a partial engagement of the clutch and it will change gear. But it's a bit annoying. I've also had a bit of snatchiness when I've been first setting off on the bike, and I let the bike warm up every time. But yeah, a little bit snatchy on the clutch, which I didn't like. It took me by surprise the first time it did it. As I said, the bike's only got 400 miles on it, but I might let it off because I believe BMWs have a different oil for the first run-in mileage, so it might be that the oil is coming to the end of its period of running in the bike, which is 450 miles to 650 miles, so it will get a fresh oil change in 3 days time. So I can't really say that the clutch is grabby on these bikes because it might not be. It might just be the oil and this specific bike at this time. So hopefully that'll go, and I'll let you know my long-term review of this bike in the future. I think lastly, one thing that might annoy some of you is the size of it. It's quite a small bike in my opinion, and I'm not the biggest guy. I'm pretty average. I'm like 80 kilo, 5'10". For me, it's like a pretty good fit. It does feel skinny when I get off my MT10 to get on this. It feels really skinny actually, and the bike itself is quite short. But yeah, maybe that's just me, I don't know. But if you're a big guy, 6 foot, I don't know, 6'2" up, you might find this bike a little bit cramped. Like it's a bit Tuono-y. I know anyone that's got a Tuono who's over 6'2" is probably like, yeah, it's a bit cramped. But you know, it's a Tuono, so I'd be 6'8" and I'd still have a Tuono. So yes guys, this bike isn't really, you know, there's not many annoyances about this bike. You can live with every single one because it's a great all-round bike. Probably one of the best all-round bikes I've ever ridden. Like really user-friendly, nice to ride. There's nothing really you can complain about. You might be able to complain that it doesn't have the full fat engine like the M1000R does, but that's why the M1000R is, you know, 5 grand more, and then another 5 grand if you want the competition pack on top of that. But that's why that's a thing. This bike, you know, as I've said in previous videos, people like this bike because it's really fast, but not like ridiculous fast like the M1000. So people might like that. But yeah, if you buy an S1000R, you're not going to be disappointed. But I will leave you with this, my final annoyance with this bike, and the only thing that would probably put me off actually buying one with my money and that is the character of the bike. I don't know, I think in the modern day, no one really wants the generic anymore. And when I say generic, I mean an inline 4 screamer. You know, as good as they are, people like the difference of like a different engine noise. It's still fast, like cross planes, even though it's an inline 4, it has the characteristics, and it's like totally different characteristics to an inline 4. See that? Again, going to neutral, just clunked up into second. Maybe I'm heavy footed. It's not too bad, but it just lacks something. I don't know what it is. Like, I recently saw the new and latest and greatest S1000R. BMW just released the press release, and they look awesome. I've got to admit, they look awesome, and they're super fast. The M1000R and the M1000RR especially. Even the S1000R is insane, but the new one, the new S1000R, is just the same as this one with different headlights as far as I can see, so a little bit disappointing. I think it might have got a little bit higher, the horsepower, but not by much. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, the bike itself, it just, I'll be honest, it just bores me. Like, as good as it is, I use it just to commute, really. I don't do anything else on it. I commute on it, I go to the shops on it, I do general tasks, but it's not, it doesn't tickle my pickle. My MT10 completely tickles my pickle, and I think, you know, anything Italian, that would do it as well, like an Aprilia, a Tuono, Ducatis. You just get on it, you look in the garage, it makes you look back, you know. And as good looking as this is, and as good looking as the newer one is, I don't know what it is about it. It just, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I want something that scares me. I want something that, like having Godzilla in your garage. You start it up and it's like, whoa. And when I start my MT10 up, I listen to that cross-plane engine just tick over, and oh, it gets me off. It sounds beautiful. This, I start it up and I'm just like, yeah, it's alright. Doesn't really get me off at all. The thing is with standard exhaust as well, is they're so lame. They just don't, they're just so restrictive. And obviously everyone changes the exhaust on a motorbike eventually, and I can't change it on this, but that's one thing that, yeah, characteristic of a bike. The character is everything for me, and it might be everything for you as well. So have a ride of one, see what you think. I mean, it might be everything and more you want in a bike. To be honest, it is everything and more you need in a bike, but make sure it gets you going when you get on it. Your heart rate's up and you're like, yes, you're loving it. If it's not doing that, then it's not the bike for you. One more thing actually, before this battery runs out. The quick shifter from first to second is basically pointless. It doesn't really work, it jerks, and it's horrendous, and I hate it. Other than that, it's fine. But overall guys, this bike is a phenomenal bike, all round great bike. So these annoyances shouldn't put you off of it. It's just things to be aware of, really. Just things that I found I don't really, don't really like, but it wouldn't put me off the bike. My MT10 has many more annoyances about it than this one. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to give it a like and consider subscribing. And I'll catch you on the next one. Ciao for now.